All right, welcome back to The Five. It is a sad day. Terror tore apart France back in November, and also it is a sad day. Today, that country stands in solidarity with its neighbor, Belgium. The Eiffel Tower, as you see, is lit up in the color of the Belgian flag. More reaction now from the 2016 presidential candidates here at home. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders addressed the terror in Brussels earlier. Hillary took a shot at Trump's renewed call to close our borders.
It's unrealistic to say we're going to completely shut down our borders to everyone. That would stop commerce, for example, and that's not in anybody's interest. Terrorists are not stupid. They are quickly adapting, and the more they use encryption to communicate, the more difficult it's going to be to figure out what the heck they're up to. So we've got to work this through, consistent with our values.
We are dealing with barbaric people who want to do us harm, who want to do Europeans harm, who want to do innocent people throughout the world harm. And I know that our intelligence agencies, our law enforcement people will be as vigilant as they can to protect our country.
Well, both candidates have still failed to properly define who the enemy is. Here were the two back in November after the Paris attacks. Remember this.
I don't think we're at war with Islam. I don't think we're at war with all Muslims. I think we're at war with jihadists who have...
Just to interrupt, he didn't say all Muslims. He just said radical Islam. Is that a phrase you don't...
I think that you can talk about Islamists who clearly are also jihadists.
I don't think the term is what's important. What is important to understand is we have organizations, whether it is ISIS or Al-Qaeda, who do believe we should go back several thousand years.
It's like we're playing password. If we give you a hint, will you actually say the word out loud? Dana, which candidate on the left or on the right seems to have it right as we get set to look at results from Arizona as well as Utah today?
Well, I don't think any of them are on the left are matching the moment. And Hillary Clinton, who wants to be able to say, I'm the most experienced, she also could claim, if she wants to, that she's the most hawkish on the left side, that she would be the most tough. One of her big problems in the electorate is with men. She has a deficit with them, in particular with white men. National security is important to everybody. Yeah. I think that one of the things that she could have done today is she could have been a lot tougher. But she's talking in these code words. Okay, she says that the U.S. response must be consistent with our values. What does that mean? Basically, that's a code word for saying that we will not do anything that's too tough, that we won't go as far as that's basically saying, I won't do what George W. Bush did.
Well,
that's what she's saying.
Either one of those candidates make you feel good about fighting the war on terror from Europe to the Middle East?
Absolutely. What's interesting to me is listening to Dana, I was just struck by this idea that somehow Hillary Clinton isn't using the right language. I mean, she talks about we're facing jihadists, that we've got to stop and we've got to fight. Bernie Sanders, the same thing. You guys get locked into this thing about the language. They won't say that.
It seems like she's locked into not saying it.
No. They are both into saying it, both into advancing. And the real fight here is the idea that you touched on earlier, where you have Trump saying, oh, no, don't support NATO. She's saying, and Bernie Sanders is saying, no, we have to uphold our commitment to NATO. And when you come to this issue, in terms of the politics of it, Brian, remember this. Most Americans associate strong national defense with Republicans. Right. So it should benefit the Republican Party and the Republican candidate.
That's why I'm saying she could have done better.
But when you come to Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton in the polls, most Americans overwhelmingly choose Hillary Clinton as the tougher of the two on national security.
Wait, did you cite the WAN poll? Is that the WAN
you said this to me before. I happen to have it in front of me, although you stole my blue cards today. It says here, Washington Post, ABC News poll, Clinton more trusted than Trump to handle terrorism, 50-42.
Right.
Okay, wow, that's huge, Juan. That's huge.
That's what I'm telling you.
But by the way, and that was taken prior to these attacks.
Today, yes. Yeah. But my point is, given that there's a disposition on the American spirit,
things reversed after San Bernardino. Eric, after San Bernardino, people came around to Donald Trump's way in terms of.
Yes. Here's all you need to do: listen to Bernie Sanders, listen to Hillary Clinton, listen to Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich, and go, which is the one I feel most secure with, and vote that way, because ultimately, that's the most important thing a president can do is keep you safe. And the rest doesn't matter. The rest is noise, especially when you see things like this going on. just vote with
So
who
in
you
other
trust
words,
the
you
most.
should
on
Kimberly,
security.
can I
the
add-
fact that,
let me
the
just
fact
ask-
that
let me
Trump
just get
doesn't
you-
know what he's saying,
Juan,
what he's doing,
well,
we should just ignore
that's your
it.
opinion, Juan. Kimberly, real quick question. You know
Right.
what Donald Trump said over the last couple of days? If you change the laws, he'd be into waterboarding Abdul Salam to get the most information possible, and possibly in his theory, and maybe Jose Rodriguez of the CIA would have got the information to stop this Brussels attack.
Well, right, but you have to be able to do what it takes in a lawful way. And the point is you can make laws, especially in times of terror like this, where there are exigent circumstances, national security is at stake. So you take the people that you trust, your valued advisors, and you talk to the Justice Department, and you come up and you craft with some means to be able to do so. I mean, what they did at the time was legal. There's been a policy change under this administration. A new administration can bring in their experts and their new pieces of legislation like Patriot Act and things like that to be able to effectively combat terror.
And for those who say that it doesn't work and they say this, if you're not sliced up in a hospital right now trying desperately to stop the bleeding, and if you were able to stop that, attack some way, somehow, you got to think we should be open to it. By the way, Hillary Clinton will have a national security address at Stanford tomorrow. I imagine she's going to cover more of that maybe Juan's poll. Coming up straight ahead.